dance, doing the live dance. And hello, everybody. I am HP Holo / Edie Skye. I write books. I know a lot of other cool people who write books. And today I am here once again with Melissa Olthoff, who basically lives on the show now.
So, I do.
Yes.
Because I love Heather so much. And also talking. So here we are.
Yes. We love both of those things. All right. So today, though, like last time we were here to talk about Rise from Ruin. Today we are here to talk about a completely different series. And it's like the 5th book in a series that is like a series within a series. And so we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. But before we go into that, all of my usual podcast stuff, we're going to be giving away a free signed copy of Melissa's latest book, Daughter of Shippo. And so if you want to enter to win that, there's going to be a link in the comments in a second, but also in the show notes wherever you're watching. And the book is already out, right?
Yep.
So yeah, if you have no patience at all, just go buy it now. And that link will be in the comments as well. And also, of course, if you enjoy any elements of this show as you're watching, be sure to like, subscribe, click, do whatever platform you're watching on does to make you get more of my stuff. And then also, if you want to support the podcast, there are going to be some links where you can either buy us a coffee or go to Ko-Fi and just drop a little bit of money in our little tip jar. Mm-hmm. And we run on coffee. I've got this is my sad little, it used to look delicious. Now it's just like a day old and I've just been still sipping on it. So, Oh, but it's necessary for my existence. So anyway, while I am putting all my fun things in the chat, we already have an active chat. I just opened it. So Marissa's here, and Casey's here, and Nick is here. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a fun podcast already. I can tell. So anyway, Melissa, for those who are not familiar with you, give us an overview. Like, tell us who you are, where we can find your stuff, and then we will dive into this novel, but also everything that leads up to this novel, because there's a lot of context that readers have to understand. So go for it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melissa Olthoff. I write sci-fi, obviously. I write fantasy, and I always sneak in romance because I write what I love to read. And boy, do I like to read a lot. So this book, this is the 4th book in the Salvage Bunny trilogy. Because I have no self-control when it comes to these characters. So a little bit of backstory. The Salvage Title universe is this amazing open sandbox created by Kevin Steverson. And oh my goodness, I'm going to do some time math. Please don't get mad at me, but I think it was about almost 4 years ago where
Has it really been 4 years?
4 years since I wrote I think it was like my fourth short story that I ever had published. And it was in It Takes All Kinds, which is one of the first anthologies, not the first, but one of them that Kevin did for the Salvage Title universe. And I wrote a short story and I love those characters. And then Kevin was like, hey, Melissa, I wouldn't be sad if you wanted to write me a novel. And as I am shrieking about this, because he wants me to write him a novel, I'm like, yes. He's like, oh, just kidding. I'm like, oh, he's like, I would like a trilogy.
Yes.
I'm like, that's how Kevin gets you, though. He's like, you want to do 1? I meant 3. And then because I am really bad at math for an accountant, I wrote 4.
But that's author math, though, and that works out, though.
Well, so what happens when your characters don't shut up and you're like, man, I'm already at 120,000 words for this third novel. And Chris Kennedy, my amazingly patient, wonderful, awesome, did I mention amazing publisher, was like, hey, Melissa, are you sure this isn't 2 books? And I'm like, yeah, it's 2 books. And then I would like you to know how chunky this book is.
Good Lord.
So again, he asked me, like, Melissa, are you sure this isn't 2 books? I'm like, no, this time I am certain this is one really chunky book because Kailey, I had to wrap up so many storylines in this one. And I impressed Ben Yallow, who is like the gentleman of fandom, because we talked. And guys, I just need y'all to know I am super scattered today. So we're going to rabbit all over the place, which checks out because this is about the Salvage Bunny. So there I was.
It's on brand for this podcast too, because we are all chaos and all caffeine here. So you're amongst your people.
So now I'm going to talk about Ben, who is also
Ben's in the chat. Hey, Ben.
So we
For
were
those
at
who
Mid
don't know
South Con
Ben
together.
Yellow, huh? For those who don't know Ben Yallow, by the way, he has been around since the beginning of modern science fiction. Like, we're talking the first Star Trek conventions, and he knows everything about it. Like, I can go up to Ben and tell him, hey, I like this really weird, esoteric kind of sci-fi, and he will bring me a book that meets this description, and he has never led me wrong. So, guys, if you ever run into Ben Yallow at a con, chat him up because he's awesome. He always wears a bow tie, but he's not Jacob, because Jacob, people describe Ben as the bow tie guy, and the people come up to Jacob and think he's Ben Yallow, and it's like, it's an honor, but also that is wrong.
Amazing. I had not heard that before, but 100% second that. If you have the chance to talk with Ben, talk to him, because he has all the stories, he knows all the hot gossip, and he knows, like Heather said, like he brings me books now. He's like, Melissa, you need to read this story. And I go,
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I have a pile of Ben Yallow books next to my bed that I've been working through. By the way, Ben, Space Viking was amazing. I just finished that one.
Nice.
Right. I completely forgot what we were talking about.
I got you.
Your book,
I got
obviously.
this.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So there I was at Mid South Con in Memphis last year. And Ben was there because he's amazing. He added that con to his like massive schedule. And we chatted for a bit, and he's like, he just finished reading book 3, and he's like, Melissa, I honestly don't see how you can tie this up without 2 more books, because I have 2 main storylines in this series, and one of them is the disappearance of the Asur, which was like this super advanced, awesome race that created really cool toys and left like treasure and like outposts scattered all over the galaxy, like the world's biggest treasure hunt, which
I have questions about these guys.
I bet you do. But then the other big mystery was, the Syndicate, which is my little organized crime adversary. And Ben's like, I don't see how you can do it. And if he hadn't said that to me, I would not have figured out how to do it. And I did. And Ben emailed me. He's like, you were right. And then he gave me 5 stars on my review. Yes! And I screamed so loud, I'm pretty sure he heard it in Texas.
Oh, John Osborne's in the chat, says, nice story, now you owe me a trilogy.
Yes, that is exactly what Kevin Stevenson says.
Oh,
and Casey story says, got there.
Ben is the book fairy. Ben is absolutely the book fairy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. So I want to go back to the very, very beginning, because first off, in order to enjoy these books, you have to know what the salvage title universe is. And so give us a really quick rundown. What kind of sci-fi is salvage title? Like, what's the vibe? Hard sci-fi, adventure sci-fi, fleet sci-fi? What we doing?
I would call this fun sci-fi, where yes, there is science fiction, but it is heavy on adventure and on storytelling, space opera, and underdogs like winning out in the end. And just it's you have countless races and countless planets, and all of it connected by this gate system. And there are rules. Kevin has very clear rules on what you can and cannot do. No blowing up universes is something that Jacob probably needs to understand.
Oh yes, Jacob probably can't write in this series. Rest in peace, all those universes.
No, but it is a fun sandbox to play in, and it is. I mean, my Salvage Bunny books are full up space adventure. Nick Stevenson wrote essentially The Lion King meets space dragons and samurai sidekicks in space. Like, you had Hillbilly and Christopher Woods writing Smuggler's Run. I mean, you can imagine what those 2 got up to. There's something involving dinosaurs that I cannot say on live air. It's ridiculous.
I'm intrigued now. This is automatically moving close to the top of my list.
Casey Azell did a co-write with Kevin Stevenson with some lovely space opera vibes. Nick and I did Space Hyenas, which you read Hunters and Hijinks. And it's a massive treasure hunt by office workers who have no clue what they're doing.
Yes, it's a great book, though. I love it so much.
This
is Jacob, the Bane of Universes. To be fair, though, I think it's been a few books since he blew up a universe, so he's getting better. So
is he though, or is he just restrained now?
He's maybe he's just a little bit restrained and restricted. All right, so So when you look up this book in like on Amazon and on Goodreads, it's listed as part of a series called The Coalition, which
Yeah.
is a subset of Salvage Title. So how do those interconnect, and how, because like this The Coalition is obviously written by multiple authors, and this is the first book, or not the first, this is the fourth book in your Salvage Bunny branch, but it's like book 22 of The Coalition. So how do all those things get together? Like, how do you have to have read Salvage Title to get to The Coalition and to understand your sub series, or
So
can they be read pretty independently?
they can all be read independently, which is super great. The Coalition is in order by publication date. Eventually, I think we're going to try and put it in order by author, but right now, all anybody has to do is just, ooh, I want to read Nick's stuff. Follow Nick Steverson's name. You want to read my Salvage Bunny stuff? Follow my name. David Allen Jones has a trilogy. Alex Rath has a trilogy. So they're out of order because of just when they were published and how Amazon requires Chris to put things, but they're all under the umbrella of the Coalition series because some of them are loosely tied into Kevin's Salvage system, and some are more tightly tied in. But it was all under the guise of, let's gather our allies for the threat that is coming in the Invasion series, which Nick Steverson and Jason Cordova just kicked off last fall.
Nice.
Yeah, big things are coming. I will not be involved in them because my babies are going to live. Okay.
So how big was the previous book in this series, if this is book 2 from a split book?
So let's see. Fallout on Darsana was the third one, and that ended up being around 130-ish thousand words. I don't write short. This one is 158,000 words.
What? Oh my gosh. I can lift weights with this book.
You
could.
I
can pump my muscles.
This is a weapon. I could take this out with me and I could beat somebody to death with it and I would be fine. And it would still be like in one piece because that thing's a chonker. But there was no good place to break this story. It was one massive story, but my characters don't like to shut up.
I feel this. I feel it's, and I want to say I feel this problem, but really it's not a problem if they tell good stories. So yeah, John says that Amazon needs a way to show arcs or a similar umbrella in a universe. I agree, because it sometimes gets awkward to navigate. And let's see, Melissa, are you still there? You're looking frozen on my end. We may have lost Melissa for a little bit. Maybe. Let's see. I'm gonna wait a second for Melissa to reappear, and in the meantime say hi to everybody in the comments and put some new links in there. But yeah, we've got Jonathan Cohen here who says that fun sci-fi is the perfect description of the Salvage Title universe. So if you like fun sci-fi, then definitely check it out. And let's see here, who else? I know I've missed saying hey to some people, but you know what, I am going to boot Melissa and let her come back in and see what happens there. So, all right, so I believe Melissa is on her way to rejoining. And let's see, who else have I not said hey to? I don't think I've said hey to Nick yet, but hi, Nick. No, wait, I did say hi to you, Nick. We'll still say you get another hi. And then let's see here. All right. Oh, Heather Nicole Newton says hi, HP. Hello, Heather. And I approve this name. Oh, Melissa is back.
Hi.
And yay, you made it.
We have thunderstorms in the area and my Wi-Fi just went down. So now I'm hotspotting from my phone because
okay, yes.
Here we are.
Yes, it's perfectly in line with all the chaos we have on this chat. So yes, but okay, we were talking about, what were we talking about? This is going to be the theme of this podcast. I'm not going to remember anything, but all right. So I guess at some point we should probably talk about Daughter of Shippo. All right, so let's start. I often hear this referred to as the Salvage Bunny series. So where does that come from? Tell us about the series as a whole, and then we'll talk about Daughter of Shippo.
So apparently, when you nickname your character Bunny in the first book, your oldest friend, Casey Morris, goes, not only is your character now nicknamed the Salvage Bunny, but your nickname is now the Salvage Bunny.
It's a great name, though. Where does the nickname come from in the book? Is there a fun story behind it? Well, I mean, it's the whole book, so I mean, yes, but
so In the first book, all right, so let me back up. Kailey Jackson, she is our salvage bunny. She is our main character. And she is a result of what happens when I am obsessed with Dr. Daniel Jackson from Stargate and Evie from The Mummy. And I went, ooh, what if I smash these two characters together, name them after Kailey from Firefly, another one of my favorite shows.
Ah, yes.
Right? And it was a lot of fun with her because she's not a fighter. She grows into a fighter. But at the start of Sunrise Over Shippo, she's not a fighter. She accidentally gets her homeworld invaded and spends the whole book trying to figure out, what would she do to save her home?
Mm-hmm.
And towards the beginning of that book, the mercenaries that she has hired to help take back her homeworld, they're like, well, if you're coming with us, we need to see like how you can fight, what you can do, teach you some self-defense, that sort of thing, so you're not completely helpless. Mm-hmm. And well, at the end of that first sparring session, Keith Winterbourne, one of my main characters, he goes, okay, so people think there's two responses, fight or flight. Mm-hmm. There's a third, freeze. Guess which one you have? Mm-hmm. So Kailey tends to freeze up and she would squeak like a little bunny. And they're like, you are such a little bunny, but we're going to help. It's going to be fine.
Oh, and I love it.
I love doing those scenes. And quite frankly, I learned a lot of how to do hand-to-hand combat scenes from Nick Steverson. So it was a lot of fun taking what I learned from him and utilizing it in these books. And over the course of the series, Kailey grows from, trying to figure out what would she do to save her home to, okay, well, she saved her home. Hooray, spoilers. But, that didn't come without consequences. Mm-hmm. And now she's a mercenary and exiled from her homeworld in book 2. And certain villains like Andre come back, and then she has to figure out how far she would go to save her friends. What would she sacrifice, right? Fallout on Darsana, which is the book that would never end, was how far would you go to save yourself? Because the things that she did in book 2 continued to have consequences in book 3, because it turns out, y'all, when you bond yourself to an alien warship via a completely unknown neurological link, there are going to be consequences to that, especially when the Asur who created that warship they're missing. They're not around anymore to give her a freaking user manual.
That was one of the questions I wanted to ask too. Like, how exactly does bonding to this warship work? Like, what perks does she get? What's the process? What's all? I like interesting sci-fi warships and the people associated with them. So,
okay. So we've talked about that. Heather and I have talked about this before, where I was watching Voltron, the new one on Netflix, and I was super enjoying watching that show with my son. And then season 8 came out, and season 8 does not exist. And it's entirely possible that my displeasure at season 8 helped inspire these books.
I feel this. I don't even think I finished season 8. Like a time skip happened and I just kind of stopped caring about everything because I felt like I'd missed so much. And
yeah, it was so wrong. I hated what they did with the end. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to fix this. But one of the things I loved from Voltron, though, was that somewhat mystical bond that the pilots had with the lions. I'm like, this is cool. So with my Asur Warbirds, I'm like, all right, we're going to play around with this neurological bonding link technology that nobody really understands. And it allows Kailey to mentally enter the Warbird and interact with the AI that controls the ship. And the AI is integrated wholly with this ship. It is inseparable. Only that bond, it's not quite right, which is part of her problem in Daughter of Shippo. Is if that ship dies, she dies with it. So she's got this whole crap. How am I supposed to take myself?
By not quite right, do you mean she kind of bonded wrong with the warship, or there's like a HAL 9000 situation going on where something like the AI is kind of being like, you want to give it some side eye?
So the AI is totally not at fault. This sweet baby was, he really is very nice. He's almost like a puppy, and he grows throughout book 3 and 4. And he's adorable. He's like this little bouncy Kitsoonay, which is the race that raised Kailey. And there's nothing wrong with him. What happened was the bond itself was corrupted for reasons. And spoiler reasons that I will not get into. But with that bond corrupted, safety measures were okay. I am a programmer, sort of. Like, I do systems accounting where I work with programmers and code and all this cool stuff. And I'm like, how can I use day job to like help my writing? And I'm like, ooh, we're going to remove all these safety measures here and take a little bit of the code away and remove it. And then we have an AI that all of a sudden has no safety breaks. And he's not sophisticated or old enough to understand that maybe you shouldn't go into your commander's mind because you're going to crush it. And he can pull Kailey in to the Warbird without her consent. So there's those issues there, but they are inseparably bound after what happens in book 3, because she pushed too hard and the AI saved her. But again, these things don't happen without cost.
Right.
And she can't transfer the bond. She can't remove the bond. She is stuck. And so that's something that they have to deal with in book 4. And the only ones who know how that stuff really works, like I said, the Asur vanished centuries ago. So part of book 4 is them trying to find them.
Oh, okay. Now is this going to be the final book? Oh, okay. So there's
yes and no. So does this wrap up Kailey's initial arc? Absolutely. I don't leave anything hanging except for some very specific plot threads. Very specific ones. For instance, a lot of things get resolved with our enemies, but not all of them. Not all of our enemies are gone. There is you'll love this part. So one of the things that we found in book 2, Heather, was some awesome mechs, because I'm a fan of Gundam. I'm like, heck yes, you're going to have some mechs with wings and jump boosters and cool stabby stabs. And yes. Well, I have one of those mechs that doesn't have a pilot assigned to it yet. So weird that I would leave that specific plot thread dangling.
What a coincidence.
So weird. And then I have book 5 already like started, which is a single sentence. Poor Albaran, my kind-hearted field medic / heavy weapons specialist, because we love duality in a character.
Yes.
He opens that book going, I thought you said we were going to have fun.
It's a great opening line too. Yes.
So yes, this is the last book, unless readers want more, because I mean, these were my first characters, right? Their voices are so strong in my head. Like, I have to keep them locked up in a special little box when I'm writing other things. Otherwise they jump into other worlds and I go, no, you guys stay over here.
I have characters like that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm writing their novel right now.
Yes, I cannot wait.
Shut up. I love them though.
Oh, same. So yes, I would write more in the Salvage Buddy series, sub-series, whatever we're calling it. It's just a matter of timing and reader interest.
Yep, because you have a ton of stuff that's either come out or coming out. Like you actually, I was looking at an anthology that I'm in that comes out, and you're on the cover of it too, which I just like. There it is. Yes, I was looking around my room for it, and my room.
I have it right here.
So yeah. At some point, we're gonna have to talk about your story in Dancing with Destruction too, because that is coming out. Not
next week.
Next week? Is it next week? I don't know what time is, but so yeah.
I still think it's like March and it's the end of June. So
yeah, it's what even is time, which it's a common theme in my life, but oh my gosh. But let's see here. So I want to talk more about, we've got humans, obviously. Let's talk about the aliens in this series. Let's talk about the Kitsoonay. So what kind of aliens is Kailey raised by?
So the Kitsoonay happened because I love anime and I loved Inuyasha and I loved the fox demons thing. And I'm like, I'm going to be super clever and I'm going to spell Kitsoonay phonetically.
I love it.
I honestly was amazed when Kevin let me get away with that. Knowing him better now, I'm not shocked in the least, because that's the kind of thing he would just giggle at, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I saw the spelling in the blurb for the book, and I was like, that looks familiar.
Yeah. So I took that concept, and I'm like, all right, so I have a bipedal race of space foxes who have two tails and live for mischief. Because for them, mischief is camouflage. They're predators, they're warriors, they're fighters. but they hide it beneath a layer of mischief, and they love pulling pranks. And at the same time, they're very insular. They didn't used to be, but in this time period, they became that way. And there's some that will go outside of their system and they'll do whatever. But Kailey's adopted mother, Sana, she was a mercenary, and she is the one that saved Kailey when she was a child from space pirates and slavers, because the galaxy is not always a friendly place. So Kailey doesn't know where she came from. She was all of like 5 or 6 years old. No memories, no records. So she's raised. So Sana's like, screw this. I'm taking this little child home. And she is raised with her other daughter, Jinx. And so you have Kailey and Jinx, really close sisters, and they grew up together. And then Kailey eventually goes off to a human college because she wants to study the Asur. There's these extensive ruins on the planet Shippo where she was raised. So she's like fascinated. Hence my archaeologist bent.
Is Shippo also an anime reference?
Yes, because of Inuyasha.
I knew it.
I'm a huge dork and I don't care.
Okay, now I have to ask, what other anime references are hidden in this series? I'm going to be on the lookout for them.
You should be. So the biggest anime is obviously Inuyasha, and you'll see some references to Gundam and Voltron, which, while not an anime, is still awesome. The other thing that you'll catch is I'm a huge Princess Bride fan. So I have I'm like, okay, these characters, they can't just like go on adventures and stuff. What do they do in their off time? They watch movies together. And Diego Barton, who is my idiot, like comical love interest, he introduces Kailey, I think in book 3, to his favorite movie of all time. And I don't outright ever say it, but I'll have little Easter eggs everywhere, like have fun storming the castle, because it's my favorite movie.
Yes. Oh, it's such a great movie too. I have a funny Princess Bride story. I went to a new coffee shop to write once, and I'd never interacted with anyone at it before, never interacted with the baristas or whatever. And the baristas were having a conversation amongst themselves about the Princess Bride. And they were very young, and they were arguing over whether it was based on a book or not. And they determined that it was based on a book, but they couldn't remember who by. And they just immediately turned to me because I apparently have the vibes of someone who knows detailed knowledge about the Princess Bride. And they asked me if I know who wrote it. And of course I did, because I own it. But yes, that's one of my favorite Princess Bride stories. I love seeing the youths discover these things from our generation.
Yes, my kids not only know Princess Bride, that we do need to do a rewatch soon. They are now quoting Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's how you know you're a good parent right there.
Right, they were like walking around like the kitchen, like smacking their faces with books the other day and doing the I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
All right, you know what? We haven't actually talked. You always write at least a little bit of romance into your stuff. We haven't talked about romance yet. So give us, what are the romance deets for this series?
So funny story. And I know you've experienced this. Marissa has experienced this. So I had a plan. So my short story, which is Shadows Before Sunrise, it looks like Will Shepherd, who is like the commander of the Lancers, like super awesome, totally not based off of Shiro at all. He was kind of flirty and everything. I'm like, this is going to be my love interest. And then I start writing the novel, and Barton goes, no, he's not. I'm like, dang it, he's right, it is him. And he's amazing. He's one of my favorite love interests because he's a little bit like the Kitsoonay. He is a goofball, but he uses it to hide the fact that he is highly observant and really a very fierce warrior. And I love him. And it was very, very difficult to keep it a slow burn. But I'm just saying, in book 4, at some point you gotta let that slow burn catch fire.
Exactly. Yes. We've got Marissa's in the comments saying famous last words. I have a plan. Exact same thought.
And Barton said, no, you don't.
Our characters know better than we do. Yep.
I had to do some gymnastics in book 1 to make that happen too, because I'm like, but I had this set up and now I have to set this up. And it was actually a really cool learning experience though, because I'm like, all right, it felt right for Barton and Kailey to be Endgame and not Shepard. So I had to shift her interactions with him to more of a at first an employer-employee type role, because she hired the mercenaries. He's like, I don't mix business and pleasure, that kind of thing, because he has principles. He's a good man. And then there's Barton, who saves her over and over again. And yeah, Barton is hot.
Yeah, Casey is in the chat. Yep, Barton is hot. So yeah, if you like hot characters, obviously read this book, guys.
I mean, all the characters are pretty, but yeah, Barton is hot. Everybody's hot.
I love the way you handle your romances too, because they're never they're very subtle, but when they catch fire, they catch fire. And the example I always go back to is when I was reading Hunters and Hijinks, right? The space hyena one. And it's like, I am not a space hyena. I have never been a space hyena, but I am invested in this space hyena romance that happens. Like, it's so well done that I can relate to an alien species. And it helps that I relate to Maddie too, because like I get her coffee and lack of coffee rages. So
I have no idea where that came from. So weird.
All right. So here's another question for you, or another 2 questions. It's a 2-parter. Most fun thing about writing this book and most challenging thing.
Oh, let's see. The most fun, I mean, for being honest, the most fun was just letting that slow burn romance like catch fire, because I am who I am, and I loved writing all of those scenes where like they finally get to do the things and all the things, and we're gonna leave it at that, because I had to be. This is clean, by the way, because Kevin Stevenson has rules. But Kailey deserved her reward at the end. I'm just saying. But the other fun thing I had with this was letting Kailey really come into her own as a fighter. And so much of what she does is outside of her element. But there was one scene, because keep in mind, Kailey was raised by space foxes on a forest planet. And she's a sneaky little forest ninja. So getting to let her really lean into those strengths with the other Kitsoonay during one of the battles was so much fun to write. My forest ninja scene is bonkers. There are trees that move and try and eat you.
What?
I had so much fun creating like this most challenging ancient forest planet just to give them some place to rage. It was
I love it.
It was so much fun. Also, tactics are you could be a little bit loose with your tactics in Salvage, because it's not mil sci-fi. So I could be a little bit crazy. The most challenging part though was absolutely pulling all of those plot threads together, because there was so much that I had. I always do this when I write, when it's been a little bit since I've written a book. I'll go back through and I'll reread all of them and I'll take notes. Okay, what threads do I have open? I had throughout this whole series, there were rats, syndicate rats, traitors hidden within the Lancers. And slowly, one by one, they're exposed. But there was one that the biggest one who was hidden this entire time. So getting to bring that plot thread to a conclusion was really nice. But really just trying to make sure that I didn't leave anything hanging that I didn't want hanging, and like blending it all together so it flowed. That was a learning experience, and it was challenging, but it was super fun.
Are you an outliner or a pantser?
Yes.
Right in the middle, the pantser. I am
all right. So I will create an outline. I am very much a fan of Kevin Eikenberry's 7-story structure. 7-step. I don't know. Regardless, I will come up with like major plot points. Like, all right, I know I want to start here. I want to set the hook. I want, a plot turn, a pinch, a midpoint, all the way through. And then for a while, like this story will just be churning in the back of my brain, and scenes will pop into my head, dialogue, characters, all this stuff. And I will just take chaos notes. And then when I'm ready to actually start writing, I'll take my little neat story outline thing, and then I will look at my chaos notes and I'll start plugging things in where they belong. And some I don't know where they go yet. And I'm like, you're going somewhere. I'll figure it out. So then I'll have like a more detailed outline, but it's really chaos and like chunks of like half written scenes and verbal vomit and just it's a process, but it works for my brain because it's a mix of structure and spontaneity. So I can restructure the story just to get a dialogue scene in because I'm like, this has to happen because it's funny.
Yes.
or because it helps the romance, or because it's going to help tie this cool thing together. So yes, I outline and I pants, and it's a lot of fun working from a not heavily detailed outline because it gives me the freedom to go, oh, I didn't know this was going to happen. This is so cool, brain. This is great. And then I'll leave a note and go, hey, dummy, go back and foreshadow this like in the first half of the book.
That's exactly how I write too. I work from a very skeletal outline, and my rule is I like being I'm very much a discovery writer to a certain extent too.
Me too.
But if I do complete pantsing, it takes me forever to finish anything. And so I have my key things that need to happen. And then basically what I do is I say, okay, characters, you have to accomplish this thing. You can do whatever you want to accomplish this thing, but as long as you do this thing, you're good. And then my characters find ways to do that. And that's one of the most fun things about writing for me, because even though I know, I may think I know where the story is going to end, and I do know where the story is going to end, but very often the way the characters get there is very unexpected. And that's just I very much discover my novels with the readers as they happen sometimes.
It's so much fun though, and really I think personally that it makes it feel more real. Because just because I've written down I need this thing to happen, like I think you're the same way. Like I can hear the characters. Like they're not they are real voices, real people in my head. So when I actually have to kill off one of my babies, I usually end up like sobbing in a ball or having like an emotional support mocha, because like our brains can't distinguish between like a fictional character death and a real person's death when they're that real to us. So
well, it's one of the key reasons why I don't actually kill characters all that often, unless I have a really, really good death planned, or a really, really good reason to. Because the thing for me is, like, I like these guys. I like hanging out with them in my head, and once I've killed them, I can't write about them again. And so and unless I do flashbacks, but I'm not a flashback writer. And it's like killing off friends. And
it really is though. But it's like when I know that I do need to have a character death, like I'm like, okay, it could be this character, this character. I'm like, which one is gonna hurt me more is usually the way you have to go. Because it's like, because if I don't care, then why should the reader?
Exactly.
Oh, hey, Shammy.
Yep. Yep. Shammy Stovall's in the chat. Go read her stuff too, because I just interviewed her I don't know, 2 weeks ago. I've interviewed so many people recently. Everyone's blended together. All my friends have books coming out. It's too many books. Or it's just enough books, depending upon how fast you read. But I read super slow. So, John Aldridge says, you're not killing them, you're just isekaiing them. That's how I'm going to view it. If I ever have to kill a character, they're going off to a better fantasy world where they have to level up and have fun. There we go. Yes. And Shammy says, killing characters does keep everyone on their toes, though. All right. So let's see here. I think we have just about covered Daughter of Shippo, am I right? So before we end, let's take a little bit to talk about the next thing that's coming out, which is Dancing with Destruction. Well, I guess I'll lead in by saying that since I'm in this anthology too, so Dancing with Destruction is coming out next week from Bane Books, and it's an anthology that is edited by, my book is somewhere, I don't know where it is in my room, everything's piled up, but Dancing with Destruction, actually, it's one of the most fun anthologies I've ever written from, because the blurb on the back is not actually what the origin of it is. I'm not entirely sure why it's being marketed as military sci-fi, because the premise that was given to us was Bane had this book cover commissioned, and they decided not to use it for the book it was commissioned for, but it was still really cool art, and they wanted to use it. And so they gave it to Jason, and Jason was like, you know what if we just give this art to a bunch of authors and just tell them, hey, write a story inspired by this art. And it was a really, really cool concept to me. And so Jacob and I got together and wrote a story in his Soul Blazers Freelancers of Neptune universe. It's the Jacob Holo and Edie Skye collaboration, so you know how it ends up. But ours is called The Joy of the Chase, and basically ended up being this love letter to 80s action movies, but especially Predator. And also just the general ridiculousness of 80s action movies, because that's just it's scrappy crew space adventure 80s action. And so that's my story. But let's hear about yours, since this is your interview.
So yes, this is amazing, because while you guys paid homage to Predator, Nick Steverson and Casey Azell and I paid tribute to Aliens, which is another favorite from the 80s, like sci-fi movies. Like, I loved Aliens. It holds up so freaking well. My husband and I watched it a few weeks ago, and the three of us got together and we're like, okay, we need to come up with a cool concept based off of this cover with the monster and the soldiers. And like, what if we do something that's like Aliens, where we have these space marines who are sent in on just another bug hunt. Mm-hmm. And things do not go according to plan at all. They end up on this planet where a research station has gone dark. The scientists are missing. All of their guards have been slaughtered. So you have these characters who are like, all right, well, now we got to find these missing scientists, because they're very important people, you guys, and we got to find them. And then we had Casey. So Nick and I wrote the first half of the story, and then Casey came in with her, essentially like a helo pilot character who is amazing, and also the reason that our characters didn't like die. And
thanks, Casey.
So we have a couple different aliens and a little bit of intrigue going on, because we don't know who's our enemy and who's our ally. Are they all enemies? Are they? We do not know, and the reader won't either until the end. And it was so much fun, and also real challenging weaving those two stories together, mm-hmm. because there was some overlap. And we had to make sure that everything lined up, and it turned out really freaking cool. And it's also like, even though it's published after Rise from Ruin, this is the first thing that I got to do for Bane.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I didn't realize that was your first.
Yeah, it was. I got to
Nick, now that I think of it, I think it might have actually been my first too, in retrospect.
I'm pretty sure Nick and I signed the contract at LibertyCon last year.
People associate me with Bane so much because of Jacob that I often forget. Like, I'm not actually published by Bane, or I won't be until Dancing with Destruction comes out. Oh my gosh, my author brain is like between my two pen names and Jacob's pen name and all the things, everything is scatterbrain. Oh my gosh,
it's been a scattered day altogether, and yeah, I get it.
So we're both having the same vibe then. All right. Well, we are close to the end of our hour, so I'm going to start wrapping us up. So first off, if people want to get copies of this book signed, or want to get other books signed, where can they find you? Any cons?
So my last big con of the year is Dragon Con. I will have copies mostly of Rise from Ruin there, because I will be selling at the Fantasy Gather, which Saskatchewan has turned into this massive, amazing event, I believe on Friday evening from like 8 until midnight, where we get to sell our books it's like a big old book fair in the middle of Dragon Con. So cool. So I'll be there. That's the last in-person event I currently have scheduled. But you can find my books on Amazon. The Bane books you can find wherever books are sold. And all of those links are on my website, which I just updated yet again, because I keep having books come out, and I'm not sad about that.
And I just put your website in the comments links too, so that's there, along with the link to buy Daughter of Shippo, the link to enter to win a signed copy. We're going to draw the winner tomorrow morning, by the way, because I found every single time I do this contest, I'll draw the winner, and then like right after I draw, I have 10 late entries come in. So yeah,
which works out. It works out, right?
Oh, yeah. Do you so you had Rise from Ruin come out earlier? Do you have any other books other than Dancing with Destruction coming out this year?
Oh, that is a great question. I don't think so. I think, oh man, my brain just went completely blank. I'm not sure about some of the anthologies. I think everything else is going to be next year. Jason Cordova and I have a thing coming out in January, I think. So we'll see.
We'll have to have you back for that.
Yes, so much fun. a couple of anthologies from Bane, and I am this close, you guys, to finishing up the sequel to Rise from Ruin. Like,
Yes!
I am like within 3,000 words of the end, and this is part of the reason why I'm so scattered today, because my brain is stuck on this scene. I'm like, I am almost finished. Nope, I have to podcast. I'm here.
Did we both seriously come from writing sprints right onto this podcast? Because I was writing up until like 15 minutes before.
Yes.
So this makes so much sense.
I feel like we did incredibly well, considering the fact that half of our minds are stuck on our characters. So
yes, exactly. And I'm probably going to go write some more after this. So we're both probably going to go write some more after this. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So, which actually sounds like an excellent lead out. So everyone in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been a really fun, really active chat this time around. And of course, thank you, Melissa, for coming on the podcast. And everybody, go read all her books right now. And Melissa, I will see you next time we have you on.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.